All right, welcome to this month's Desk Side Chat, where we will be talking LinkedIn profile tips and hacks. We have Bob Graham with us, who's going to walk through anyone who's brave enough to be guinea pigs and raise a hand and let Bob pick apart and go through LinkedIn profiles. Bob, this came up a couple weeks ago. We were in a meeting and we had a couple people, one in particular, where you started going through and giving some input, and he's taking notes and going through all these different things. And so we wanted to throw this out to anyone else who might be interested. And just to reiterate once again, for those of you in the room, please feel free to chime in, either chat, unmute, share, whether you want your profile reviewed or not. If you have additional feedback, always looking to, as we say, learn from everyone. So we really want to hear input from all parties. But one thing I wanted to get into first and foremost is back to my presentation skills training. One of the things that we were always taught is to know where your critiques are coming from and value them accordingly. So, Bob, I trust you. I know you. I feel comfortable with you. A lot of the members in the community have gotten to know you and really appreciate your insight. But if I am meeting you for the first time, why should I give credence to what you're going to share as far as LinkedIn profiles? And if you can throw a little bio in as well, we'd appreciate that. And now I can't hear you. What happened?
Can you hear me now?
Now I can. Yes.
Okay, sorry, hit the wrong button. I apologize. So, first of all, I want to thank you for the opportunity. And the second thing I want to say that's really important is that a LinkedIn profile is a lot like that photo of yourself that you use on social media or any other site where you've got to love it. If you don't love it, it's no good. So, my suggestions come from a place of studying LinkedIn, working with people with LinkedIn, going to training. I've spent close to $8,000 on LinkedIn training over the years. So I've experienced a lot of this. I helped a lot of college students, a lot of professionals with their LinkedIn profiles. And the other thing I want to say, John, before I get too far along, is everything has to go through compliance. And compliance could, from company to company, change the parameters. I know I've had one or two people where it's like compliance says it's fine, other people it's not fine. So if you've got compliance to worry about, make sure you run it through them. And if they come back and say no to something, that's their rules, and I can't do much about that. And then my background, just so you know, John, well, you know, but others don't, is I was a journalist. I've done marketing, public relations, taught college journalism, marketing, consumer behavior, composition courses, and in the last 6 years, been a small business coach. And then in the last year, really pivoted a lot into helping people tell their story through books, whether I'm ghostwriting the book or they are writing the book with my guidance. So I spend a lot of time playing with words. I spend a lot of time helping people tell their stories, and telling the story is really about what the LinkedIn profile needs to be today. And I was thinking this morning that LinkedIn's really shifted over the last 5 years, and financial services probably hasn't moved as quickly, shockingly enough. Um, all of marketing really is about the consumer. We can no longer be in that place. If you remember 20 years ago with the first websites, you put your brochure on the website and it was all about you. We're the most amazing financial services company. We're the most amazing. We're the most amazing. And we tolerated that for a while. Over the last 5 years, LinkedIn has moved away from that. And now you really have to tell a story that your customer wants to listen to, because they have a million sources for information, a million people they can talk to, and you've got to stand out. So, what I hope to do is help people see some ways to maybe stand out by telling their story in their profile.
And one thing that I don't know, like we talked about, we kind of play these by ear and see where the conversations go. And these are ongoing conversations. So in the community, we'll add this as a replay post, and we want people to share before and after, and we'll keep the conversation going. So I don't know that we'll get into, or how much we'll get into compliance, but I do think that's important in your background, especially in the books and things you've done, is you've learned over your time. We've talked about this, how to play that game, and it's something that's always going to be there.
Well, and it doesn't have to be as onerous as people think it to be. I'm amazed. Someone on the call today, I've actually worked with him, and we talked to compliance early on with the first book he did, and compliance was like, "Okay, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this." We didn't do those things. They said the book would take 3 months to review. They came back in a week and said it was fine. So there are ways, compliance has a role to play in this. And I'm not saying they shouldn't be there. But if you're not making guarantees, if you're not saying things that, you can't back up, you're not going to be in too much trouble, really.
Well, let's dive in, and we already put a couple people on the spot as far as whose profiles we're going to start reviewing, because I learned this learn everything behind the bar, right? You can go through a book and learn all these drinks, or you just trial by fire. Let's just go live
I'm
and try
good.
things out. So we're gonna start popping a couple of profiles up, and we'll have you start running through them, Bob. And do you want to share? Should I share my screen, or do you
Why
want to
don't you
share
share
yours?
your screen? It would seem to work really well that way. And I think,
Okay.
George, I see your comment, John. George, do you want to be on camera? He probably doesn't want to be on camera if we're going to do this critique. And I want to say, I should also
He
say,
does.
John,
There he is. He's the
there you
first
go.
I
guinea
grew up
He's
in a
pig.
there.
family with thick skin, so
I
give
do
you the
this
best
from a
shot.
place of caring. And this is not just looking for things to be wrong. If something looks great, I'm going to be the first to admit it because that's how we grow. So, John, let's see George's bio or his profile.
All right. George, you want me to pull it up, or do you want to pull it up? Either way.
Yeah, you can pull it up unless
All
you
right.
want me to.
All right. I'm gonna pull it up here. Let's make sure everybody can see it. And then once again, reiterating in the chat for everybody who's here, if you would like to go next, before we have to start twisting arms, please share in the chat and let us know if you want to go next. And then, like I said, if you have additional feedback or insight, please let us know. So, Bob, do you want to start, or George, do you have any specific questions you want to start with? We want to make sure first and foremost this is going to be valuable for. I just got a text here from somebody if anyone who have as a co-host, if you can look in the weight room for me and let others in, I would appreciate it. George, do you have specific questions? Do you want to start there, or Bob, do you want to just start firing away?
I'll leave it to George. George, you got specific questions or?
No, nothing at the start. If something comes up along
Okay,
the way, I'll
well,
jump
I
in.
like this. This is great. And one of the things I really like is you're using that hiring tag. And I don't know if you've had people that actually have seen that purple box up there or purple thing that goes around his profile picture. I looked at some research a couple weeks ago and it said that 20% more people will actually reach out to someone if they see that you're hiring. So for all of you that are hiring, and if I understand financial services, it seems like everyone's always looking to hire. That might not be a bad place to start. John, can you make it a little bigger for me if you don't mind? Yeah,
Does that
beautiful.
work?
Yes,
Okay.
that's perfect. Thank you.
Okay.
So the most important real estate here beyond the picture, and the picture is a nice, authoritative, professional photo that I love the time zones conveyed by the clocks to suggest that they're not rinky-dink little guys in greater Chicago, but they actually know about the East Coast and the West Coast and maybe even New Delhi or some other place like that. So it's a very subtle thing. I love that the logo is up in that photo, not in your face. I do feel sorry for the guy who is behind your profile picture. I don't know if he's the CEO of the company. If he is, he just picked the wrong place to be. If he's just an intern, well, then we understand that all too well. And I'm just giving you a hard time, George, but it does sort of look weird that he's back there. And if you guys were to ever take that photo again, you might want to frame it a little differently so that you guys are closer together and that real estate over there was blank. As I was saying, that area right below your name where you have your title, I love that you didn't just put president, financial advisor at McCabe and Associates. You actually talk about what you do for people. And this is really important real estate. I can't begin to tell you how important this is. This is, after they see your name, the most important thing someone's going to look at. So if it's directed at your ideal client or customer, it's going to help you. If it's just, CFP, NAIC number, and all that good stuff, you're not going to help yourself at all. And so I love creating value for high net worth families because that says exactly what you do. Now, my question to you, George, is I know because I've dealt with financial services for the last 20 some odd years, what a high net worth individual is, but it doesn't pass my bar test. So I have this bar test and I try to use it as many nights a week as possible. I will go out to my local bar and I will talk to people. And most people, when I go to a bar, if I ask them, hey, what kind of financial advisor are you looking for? I don't think they're going to say, I'm looking for someone who creates value with high net worth families, because that's not how we talk. And I would be curious how many people you would consider high net worth, but they do not consider themselves high net worth. And so in some ways, you may be excluding people without even trying. Because I know a lot of times I hear 250,000 in assets or more is high net worth. But to most of the people I know, they're not in high net worth land until they're a millionaire. Does that make sense, George, conceptually?
Yeah, absolutely. I guess a question is, and maybe you'll have a suggested alternative. I've always been hesitant to put dollar figures. I feel that maybe that could be, as opposed to that phrase, could be
Yep.
off-putting to people. Let's say it's, hey, we work with people with $5 million or more. Especially because our current client base, we've been around since 1980. A lot of them are mass affluent. We've really started to niche recently, seeing that and being like, well, that doesn't describe me. So I'm curious of your opinion on that, of putting a specific dollar
I
number.
would not, because first of all, George, I don't know how much I'm worth at the end of the day. I have a condo that I owe some money on. I've got some assets. I've got some things that my mother's going to give me when she dies, probably. So I have no earthly clue. So if you put a dollar amount there and said $500,000, you might as well tell me you should be able to fly to the moon. So that's one issue. I think what I would focus on is more, what are some of the characteristics of the people you work with? Is it wealth generated through families? Is it divorced women primarily? Can you be more specific? So if I look at that page, I go, oh, he's for me.
Yeah.
So for instance, I'm in my late 50s, I'm divorced, I lost a fair amount of money through divorce. If that line said helping divorced guys restart their finances, I'd be all over it, because that speaks to me. Now, the other side of that argument is, well, Bob, if I do that, I'm excluding all those other people. But here's the thing, you won't. To the people that look at this cold, they'll see that and go, oh, it's for me. To the people that you're referred to and someone just checks you out before they call you because their friend said to call, it's not going to disqualify you. It just won't.
Yeah, and I
Does
thought
that help at
maybe
all?
it does. Yeah, yeah. With this kind of being the most high level section, where I agree with you. I mean, this is what people see first, most important information. I saved some of that, I think, for the about section to get a little more specific on what I mean by, high net worth families, or I think things that pertain to that type of individual. But maybe that's a mistake, because maybe people aren't going to make it that far to the about section. This is your best
I
chance. So I just worry about real estate, of how much
You're
can you fit
talking three
in?
to four
Yeah.
seconds on average is how long someone looks. So they're not
Right.
getting to your about section.
Right.
They're
Okay.
probably looking at your name. They're actually, first thing they're looking at is the photo. Then they're looking at your profile photo. Then they're looking at your name, and then they're looking at that first headline. And that's probably the majority of people. And if you watch your habits, if I say go look up Joe Conroy's profile right now, you will
You want me
watch.
to?
That's what you will
Oh,
do when you go look at Joe's profile, because you're just trying to orient yourself. You might look at where the person is geographically, because that could be of interest to someone. So I think, can you scroll down, John? Let's see if we might be able to pick something out of his about section that we can move up higher,
sure.
possibly.
And And as we go, Bob, if are you able to monitor the chat, or do you want me to bring those things up to you? I think a
I've
couple
got my
points.
eye on the chat. I did see that we have another person proving my theory that everyone is working on their profile and doesn't want to show it. So we've got 2 of those so far. So thank you, Dawn, for confirming that for me. Nick, I'm looking at Nick's comment. Most people
I,
don't even realize that George is a financial advisor with this profile. But do I need to know that you're a financial advisor, or do I need to know that you're someone who can help me with my problem? Financial
Yeah, but
advisor is what you all like to
what's
be
someone's
called.
problem? I mean, what problem does he solve? You have no idea what problem he solves with his profile. And the first thing I see is CPA. I see McCabe and Associate. If I'm looking for a financial advisor and I see George's profile, there's no way that I even think he's a financial advisor. And to make matters even worse, the word financial and advisor are on 2 separate lines.
Okay. But I would argue that you want to help people figure out how you solve their problem, and what your title is comes secondary.
Yeah, but people are going to naturally assume that he's not a financial advisor. So he has 1 strike against him because he's a CPA, right? Which is an amazing thing.
I
But
Yeah,
refuse to be aligned with the CPA is different and worse than financial advisor discussion, to be on the record.
I would say, yeah, candidly, I just disagree with you there, Nick. I mean, that's the designation I have. I'm not going to not display
no,
it.
no, no, no,
And
no, no. You want to display it, but I think you immediately need to say like what you do. Like I help carpenters in Chicago with financial planning or something like that, right? If you're doing financial planning, you need to let people know what you're doing because of the disconnect what some people associate with a CPA and a financial planner.
yeah, again, I
Like
just I don't fully agree with what you're saying. But CPA
I
is
think
what the designation I have within the first line. It says I'm a financial advisor, and we don't have that specific of a niche. I get that that's the popular thing, and I think it's extremely effective. Hey, I work with 30 people in their 30s and 40s, Henrys, but if that's not our client base, I mean, the type of client we work with is high net worth families. I mean, that is the type of client we work with.
Well, and George, we told you we weren't going to hold back here. So,
Yep.
in some of these, like I said, this is an ongoing conversation. So, like, I do think that will be valuable. And in the replay post, I think we're going to put a couple examples up. And so we can kind of get feedback both ways. But I do think that would be something we want to talk about a little bit more down the road. But I did want to get into, Bob, do we want to get into the about
Yeah,
section?
go down
Yeah.
into the about section if you would. Okay, so first sentence is your history. I don't care that you've been around since 1980. I care about you solving my problem today. So there's a place for that, but I don't think it's in the beginning. I think that first sentence should really be about your ideal client, who they are, and what you do for them. So it kind of says that, but it doesn't say how you do it. So you assist them with their financial planning. Can you be more specific? Do you help them lessen their tax burden? Do you help them transfer their businesses to their children with minimum capital gains? Is there something that you can do that I go, oh, wow, this is for me? Because we've gotten into a very, very niche world that we live in now. And the person who is specifically saying what their client needs is going to be the one that we call. Regardless of whether you're a CFP or a FPA or a CPA or a lawyer, it doesn't matter. It's what's the problem you solve and how do you solve it first and foremost. And telling a high net worth family that they have a complex life, I would say I think those are wasted words. I don't know anyone who wouldn't tell me they have a complex life. Now, when you get into the idea that their level of wealth demands a higher level of care for the transition of that wealth, now you've got my interest. And maybe that's where you could go with it. Providing the high level of care necessary to transfer wealth within families or something like that. Ooh, okay, that's me. Ideally, you want to come up with the exact words that your client has, what they would say at a bar. to their next door neighbor. Hey, I'm looking for a financial advisor. Oh, what are you looking for? I just want someone who can help me make sure my kids are going to be okay in the next 20 years. That's what my mother told me a couple weeks ago about her financial planning. She's 87. She just wants to know that her kids are going to be okay for the next 20 years. If your profile said that and I sent your profile to my mother, she'd call you that day because that's her language. That's her problem. Does that make sense, George?
Absolutely.
And since you were kind enough to be the guinea pig, I'm happy to work with you on this separately if you want. And we can talk about some of the ideas because I don't like to be the guy who points out the problems and then goes, okay, figure it out. Bye-bye. That's not how I roll.
No, no, no. That's why we're here.
Okay. So scroll down further, John, if you would. Services, good. Okay. Financial advisory, blah, blah, blah. Nice list of services, good. Most people aren't going to look at those, but it's good to have them there. Keep
Do we
scrolling
know,
down.
because Nick mentioned this before too, like, he said, people aren't going to scroll, like, how many people are going to make it? I mean, make it to this point. Are they going to go to the website first? Are they going to scroll all the way down to this section?
It varies from person to person, but you've got to have it there. I wouldn't do a billboard and not put my phone number on there, even though most people are driving by the billboard and can't write it down. There are things that we do just on the off chance that someone sees it.
Yep.
Keep scrolling, John, if you would.
I mean, I like, having things bulleted or numbered out, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I like that a lot too. It's very easy. It's very clear. Now, here's where I'm curious. What's he got featured? A post from your book. Nice. Very nice. A post from episode 6 about cybersecurity. Is cybersecurity, George, one of the big issues that your folks are faced with that keep them up at night?
I think it's a bigger issue today. And particularly for the type of client that we're looking for, it's a bit of more of a niche service that I think we're hitting that other advisors may not be. So I think that was kind of the thought process behind that. But I don't think it's the first thing that comes to mind for clients, probably.
So you're targeting clients in the cybersecurity space, or you're targeting people who are worried about cybersecurity issues?
People who are worried about cybersecurity.
Isn't that everyone now?
Yes, but I don't think anybody's really addressing it. Was part of the thought
Okay, so I'm
behind
curious,
putting it there.
how are you guys addressing it from a financial planning perspective that makes my financial planning more effective because of your role with cybersecurity?
Well, I think like if you look at the numbers, people that fall victim to acts of cybercrime, the numbers are substantial from a dollar perspective. So there's
Okay.
like some simple measures that we can, I mean, we're not cybersecurity experts, but we help people take, instituting MFA or putting in place identity theft protection services. But this podcast was a third party service called Black Cloak that provides
Okay.
more like a
Yep.
concierge service for, again, those like higher net worth corporate executives, people that have a lot at risk, but they're not really protecting anything. So
So
that part of it is more connecting people with professionals and being a part of the conversation as opposed to doing it ourselves.
is that what I want when I'm going to your website, or I'm sorry, to your LinkedIn profile? I have very limited time and space and opportunity. You have very limited time, and you're giving cybersecurity some valuable real estate.
Yeah, it's probably not. I think some of the mindset was just highlighting the fact that we've got a podcast or that we're putting out content, but it may have been the wrong selection for in terms of content. So maybe that was
Okay. Okay.
short-sighted.
Yeah, I'd love to see content that aligns with some of the things you say in the about section. And then the next one over is the second opinion service. Tell me a little bit about so this is really if I've got a financial planner and I'm worried that he's not doing a good job or I just want to check him, I call you guys up and you give me a evaluation.
Yeah, I think this was more of like a call to action. I mean, it could be if you have an advisor or just, you know, if you're not working with anyone, you think, hey, you're talking to your spouse, but I think we're in a pretty good place financially. You know, it's kind of like
Okay.
a call to action for a free consultation to give you a second look, tell you where you're at.
How many of those do you do in a year, in a month, or 3 months?
That's something that's new that we instituted just in January. So I think we've had
Okay.
like 10 come through so far of people
How
that
many have converted into clients? Ballpark.
two, I want to say, of those 10.
Okay. Wow. That's higher than I thought. Okay. Um, I don't know that I would be featuring those types of things. I think I'd be featuring, I like your book. That's a really good feature. And, as a guy who helps people write books, of course, I'm going to like the book. So that's a given. But I would love to see those other two be some really targeted information tied to your ideal client profile.
Okay.
So if you're dealing with widows in their 60s and 70s, I'd love that second block to be something that you've got that appeals to that audience very specifically. Even if you just shoot a video, like a 3-minute video on your phone or on your desk right there and go, hey, widows in your 50s and 60s, we've noticed a lot of trends in cyber scams and other stuff. If you'd like to come in for a free evaluation, we'd love to have you come in, something like that.
Okay. Thank you.
Does that give you enough to, as my one boss used to say, break bread over?
Yeah,
Okay, good, good. Thank you for being the guinea pig.
sure.
Thank you. Appreciate it. And again, ongoing, because I do think there's going to be some good discussions in the aftermath as we go. And Bob, I appreciate you being willing to
I
to
love
work
the
with
word aftermath.
people. I love that you're willing to help people one-on-one. Brian, we twisted your arm and kind of put you on the spot. So Nick, seems very anxious to go next. Are you gonna be heartbroken if we go to Nick next, or what do you think, Brian?
No, that's fine. Go ahead, Nick. Of course, you can go through mine
Poor
and have a field
Brian,
day later.
you cajole him into it. Then you say, "Hey, you're second, not first," and now you're saying
Well,
you're third. And
No, you're fine.
looking
I
at the
feel bad
clock,
because
the odds are pretty
we were
slim.
ribbing them pretty good.
Nick's is going to be far more interesting than mine anyway.
I think you have a possibility there, Brian. All right, Nick. All right. I design and implement financial plans for high achieving professionals and their families. Okay. I like that, Nick. My question to you is, one, you've got about 20 characters that you're not using. And I'm a firm believer that if you got the space, use the space. The second thing is high achieving to me, because my girlfriend deals with autism kids, is about high functioning, high achieving. Define high achieving as you're using it here.
Yeah, so before we did busy sales executives, so we changed busy sales executives to high achieving professionals, and we've gotten a lot more people who've raised their hands to become clients. One of the things that you kind of mentioned earlier is that no matter how successful somebody is, they didn't see themselves as an executive.
Correct.
Because somebody above them, they considered the executive. Like nobody considers themselves high net worth because they know somebody else who has more. So this was just we've kind of interchanged about 3 words. We change it on a quarterly basis.
Okay.
For whatever reason, since we've changed it to high achieving professionals, it has just worked the best from attracting the right clients.
Okay. Okay. Hey, I'm not going to argue with success. The only thing I would say is you said that you used the word busy before. I might add busy into that with busy high achieving professionals, or high achieving comma busy professionals,
I don't
because
hate it.
that
Yeah.
suggests to me that you understand up front that I'm very busy, so you're not going to waste my time. Right?
Yeah, I like it. And I think everybody, who we're going to be working with would identify as busy. So
Now, you design and implement. Is it just financial plans for people, or do you do more?
yeah, so we're actually implementing, right? We're doing ongoing planning
Okay.
as opposed to just a one-time plan. We don't do one-time
Gotcha. Okay.
stuff. Yeah. So just trying to differentiate between people looking for one-time plans and ongoing advice and guidance.
Gotcha. Okay. Nice. Nice. I like the picture. I like your profile photo. Very professional, very inviting, nice smile. You know, looks like you want to actually talk to people, which is good. Um, if you, John, can you scroll up just a tad for me? I just want to see that big picture. Know my plan. Okay. What's know my plan? I'm curious.
Name of our business.
Okay. Okay. There you go. I would not know. Oh, there it is. Okay. Gotcha. Um, why is the W in know my plan? Why does it look italic?
That
that
is just like the weird video game font that they use. Some of the letters are like a little
Okay.
wonky like that. The K is weird, the P is weird,
Okay. All
the
right.
Y is weird.
Sorry. It's the
It's the font.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
Wisconsin. It's the Action W when Wisconsin switched over to the Action W.
the action W.
They did. It used to be just a W, and then they didn't. Anyway, that was a whole story when Wisconsin switched to that. Action
Sounds
W.
like a TV news program. Wisconsin Action WA. All right, so let's scroll down a little, John, if you will. All right, about. Oh, we went with the very easy about it. We're gonna get that phone number in.
Yeah, my pet peeve of all things is when you can't find someone's phone number. Like I was trying to refer someone to a mortgage person last week, as a matter of fact. And on her website, on her LinkedIn profile, it did not have her phone number. So I was like, heck with this. I'm just going to refer to somebody else who I do know their phone number.
Okay. Could you embed your phone number up in that image with your Action W?
I think he.
it-
Oh, he's got.
Yeah, yeah, we could definitely do that.
I would rather see it there because when I'm going to that about section, if I've looked at the internet or looked at LinkedIn much at all, I'm expecting sentences, not bullets. And I would argue if you got to throw your phone number and all your contact information right there, you're really desperate. That would be how I would read that. Like, wow, these guys really are desperate. If he's sitting at the phone waiting for me, I got John laughing.
I was going to say
So-
that's your opinion. I don't like. We could get into.
Well,
I
of
wanna-
course,
but
and
that's
I
good.
said at the beginning, it's like noses. We all have them. I'm not.
I was just
giving
going to
you
say
my opinion.
I like
Um,
it there because, like Nick said, it's so hard to find numbers a lot of times. But I mean, to your point, if you know how many people are even going to scroll, if I can get it right away, and then probably contact information too.
Right. It's
But
in the
anyway.
contact info for
Yep.
most of us if we're connected.
Yep.
The other way you could do it possibly, Nick, is you could, instead of it taking 3 lines, going all 3 lines down, maybe put it across the line.
Yeah, and do like the bars.
Yeah, do like
Yeah.
the pipe or, you know, that
Yeah.
backslash right above it, capital thing, which might, then at least if I'm looking at the about section, I see a start of a sentence. Know my plan. Okay, we design and implement financial plans for high achieving professionals and their families. All right. So Nick, you already told me that. I'm a busy person. You're helping busy people. Why are you telling me the same thing over?
It's a great question, Bob.
Good. I wanted to score 1 point with you. I didn't think I was going to score one. So John, I'm out. My job is done. No, I'm just messing with you, Nick. I know it's hard to write these. We take tremendous pride in helping our clients build strong, lasting portfolios that provide financial confidence while reducing the anxiety and overwhelm that can be an anchor to many. Now, I got to tell you, Nick, I like that sentence a lot. That's a really strong sentence. I think that's actually more interesting than that you're a certified financial planner and you're a founder of the organization, because you've talked to me right there. Building strong, lasting portfolios that aren't causing anxiety and overwhelm. That's nice. That's nice emotion. Makes me think you understand me if I'm your client. And then I like the next paragraph too. So maybe the certified financial planner and the founder part can go embedded somewhere in it. You know, as a certified financial planner, I blah, blah, blah. Later in that block of about text. Because you have this beautiful, beautiful sentence. I hate to see it get buried 5 lines down.
I mean, who knows? That might be my little bio on the top before long. We'll just throw that up there.
I would encourage that. If
Yeah.
the writer in me bows to your ability to write a beautiful sentence if you wrote that
He
sentence.
can write and draw better than anybody. That's what.
Okay, well, hey. And then our firm is physically based in Charlotte, North Carolina. I don't think you need the word physically. I think we all know when you say it's based there, that it's physically there. It's down. We work with clients throughout the United States, which I like that you put that in there. A lot of folks don't put that. And then my personal favorite section in the whole profile is that securities offered through LPL Financial.
You gotta love. That's my favorite part.
Second only
It's
to,
everybody's favorite.
please do not leave trading decisions on your answering machine because I cannot honor them.
It's a beautiful thing.
It is. Tell me I don't know financial planners. But otherwise, this looks really good. Go down a little lower, John. Let's see what he's got as his featured post.
Or you want to do oops, what did I do? Services. Oh shoot.
Keep going down. There you go. I want to
okay.
see what we got. Know my plan online calendar.
Wait,
Click
no,
here.
I'm sorry, Bob, just to cut in. Nick, where's your book on here? Do you not put that highlighted?
You know, I'm just not a big fan of my book, John.
Everybody else
Hey, Nick,
is.
I know a guy that can help you either rewrite it or write a new one. I'm happy to connect you after this.
It's probably the best book you'll never read because there's actually not words in it. It's literally 40 pictures with QR codes that take you to a YouTube video about a picture that I drew. I mean, it's okay. I mean, whatever. Very big in Portugal. But yeah, I don't feature it too much. Eastern Europe's done well in Eastern Europe as well.
You
Very
really should
big
try
fat.
some third world countries. They're always hungry for
Yeah,
content.
yeah, there's something about, I guess, financial wellness in third world countries that the book's done well.
And nothing says anything like a QR code to someone in Ethiopia.
Hey, it's unbelievable.
So I've got a question here, John, in the chat from, is it Hein?
Ian, yep.
Ian, sorry, apologize for that. Do you suggest for our industry a dressed up photo, tie, button up, shirt, suit, or informal photo? How much to dress down? I think that's really a personal choice. I will tell you what my father told me growing up. You can never dress down, but you can never dress up, but you can always dress down. I always try to look the level of the people I see coming into my office or a step above them. I actually debated wearing a sport coat for this interview or for this meeting, but I chose not to because I'm in a 3rd floor condo and it's baking here. But I did have that discussion. So what do your clients expect you to be dressed in? I know one financial advisor, I go into his office and he's wearing a polo shirt and it fits him. It really matches up with how he appears in the world. So to see him in a sport coat or in a suit in a photo, and then to see him in a polo shirt in his office would be somewhat jarring. So what are you wearing in the office? That would be what I would wear for that photo. Hopefully that helps.
I think part of it might be location too. I wholesaled in Phoenix years and years ago, and at the time I was new to covering that area, and so I'm showing up in a suit, just cooking, and everybody else is wearing a polo, and so that really kind of set me on a course of really modifying based on where I was, and same in Florida. I very rarely wore a suit in Arizona or Florida.
Absolutely. And again, it's really who you're working with and where you're working. So that's a person by person decision. I think the days of wearing suits though may have passed unless you're really working with really, multimillionaires and billionaires. And some of those I see even wear hoodies instead of suits. So, keep scrolling down, John, to the activity. I'm curious how old that activity is. 3 hours ago.
Yeah.
Whoa, dude, that's a record. Usually it's like 3 weeks, 3 months. Bravo to you. And speaking of guys in hoodies, there we have it. So
There's a hoodie.
I like it.
Man, I only wear a suit to a funeral, and that's someone I really like.
Okay. Well, if I know I'm going to die, Nick, I will make sure I warn you so you can have your hoodie clean.
Or my black hoodie. I got it in a couple
Okay.
different colors.
All right. Does that give you enough to play with, Nick?
Yeah, I like it. I'm making some changes right now.
Beautiful. Love it.
Let us
And
know.
for those of you who told me or told John or like to believe that you are making changes to your profile, here Nick is making changes right now as we're speaking. So it is possible to make changes the same day. I, if you've been telling yourself that you're doing this for last month or year or 5 years, you probably need one of three options. One, to give it up and just tell yourself you're never going to change it. Two, do it. Or three, hire someone like me to help you get it done so it's done.
And Nick, and this goes for everyone, as you make changes back to the compliance, let us know if there are any compliance issues or things that come up, because that'll be common, or things that the more efficient we can make this for everybody, as we learn where the hangups are, where the good is, as we change, we're going to keep the conversation going. Bob, we're going to close down the live stream and go to the
Okay.
member only portion right now. But for anyone who is watching the live stream and not yet a member of the Good Advisors community, how can I get a hold of you? What's the best way to contact you and work with you on social media, books, all the different services you offer?
Well, the easiest thing, and I wanted to make a little offer here, John. I've got a little cheat sheet with 10 tips for how to do a LinkedIn profile that will actually meet with compliance approval. I put it together over the last week in preparation for this. Talked to 3 compliance people in the process. So if you want that, just put your email in the chat and I will get that to you.
Why aren't we
If you
selling
want-
that thing, Bob? Let's put a price tag on that. No?
What?
Let's put a price tag on that thing.
The price is someone's email address.
There you go.
And then if they want to reach out to me for any reason, feel free. You can go to spearpointinc.com. Spearpoint, SPEARPOINT, as in writing, inc.com. So spearpointinc.com.
Outstanding. Well, thank you so much, Bob. And if you are new and have yet to learn about the Good Advisors community, goodadvisorsfinishfirst.com. We have a private digital community. We run events on a regular basis. First Wednesday of the month is when we run this live stream, and we're starting up more and more study groups. Are starting up 6-person study groups, which I think are going to be really excited, in addition to just these broader meetings. So thank you, Bob. Thanks for everybody who chimed in. I guess, Bob, before we I'm going to kill it here in just a second. Do we want to answer that last question? Well, bullet points versus sentences. Why do you suggest sentences versus bullet points? Do you want to hit that real quick before?
Yeah, I'll hit that real quick. I think there's a real value in mixing it up. If it's all sentences, it tends to feel very old school. If you have bullet points, you break things up. I do a lot of writing, and whenever I'm doing anything for social media or even for books more and more, I'm trying to put things, lists and bullets, just to make it easier. And it's sort of eye candy. People will gravitate to the bullets and read them in a way that they won't read other stuff. So I encourage bullets at least once, but not all bullets. It gets a little overwhelming to have all bullets.
All right, let's everybody who's here, please feel free to stick around for the member only portion. We're gonna shut down the live stream. Thanks everybody for joining us.